We're back. Another episode of Glenn Talk Shit. And I'm just going to continue interviewing my clients, frankly, because I just feel like I talk shit. So hearing stuff from you guys is going to be way more helpful. Wouldn't you agree, Rachel? Heck, my client that has been
Yeah,
here and
I would.
yeah. So just for a bit of background, Rach has been here a few months now. She's been here about 5. But she's smashed the shit out of it, in a word. And just wanted to kind of bring her on here. And we're actually going to talk about older generations and people that are maybe a little bit more skeptical, some rightfully so, some not, about getting into something like this. And especially with it being online, you know. Some of you are still giving it that with your phone, aren't you? With your glasses sitting down here when you're trying to send a text or anything, trying to get it on bigger text. So what kind of put you into the frame of mind with doing it online and all that sort of stuff, Rachel, if that's okay?
Yeah,
So,
okay.
sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, as you said, I am one of your elderly clients or
Oh,
senior clients.
yeah. I wouldn't say elderly. I'd say older. I wouldn't say
Older.
elderly.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Elderly
Yeah.
makes you sound like me nan. Just, you know, come around for a cup of tea after school when I'm bunking off, that sort of stuff. I used to just go hide out there. And funnily enough, didn't get good grades. So what I think would be really interesting to hear is just a bit of background about yourself, maybe what started you off coming to here versus what you're up to now. So yeah, what about your name, age, occupation, and what sort of drew you to us?
Okay, so I am Rachel. I'm 60. My occupation is I'm a social worker and a social work educator. And I had, since the pandemic, put on a lot of weight, and I did want to do something. I suddenly realised on my 60th birthday how much I needed to get healthy and lose weight because it was affecting my health. And
Just out
I,
of interest, Rach,
yeah,
what made you realise that?
a beautiful photograph of myself on my 60th birthday,
Was
which
that the one you showed me today?
it was, yes, yeah,
Cool. Okay.
where I look so enormous that my poor little boyfriend is poking his head round from behind me and he looks like a tiny pixie. So I saw that picture and I thought, I knew before that there was a problem, and I'd been trying to lose weight for a couple of years, but have been really unsuccessful. Like I'd lose a little bit and then put it back on, but I wasn't doing any exercise, and I felt starting to feel really immobile and actually started to feel old. And I wasn't really old because I'm 60. I guess it's the new 50, whatever. But
Yeah, you're not
you know
exactly. I remember my nan being like 60, 65, and she was, putting her dressing gown on to go outside and have a couple of fags, and then she'd just be coming in and making us cookies and dinner for
yeah,
9 hours a day,
exactly.
living like
Yeah,
Mrs. Santa Claus, basically. That was what my name was. So
yeah.
it's a very different,
My
you're right,
nan
like
used to
50,
make
60
lots
now.
of fish in white sauce and wear a house coat to do that in. So yes, we obviously had the same type of nan. So, but
So what would you say you...
I was just going to say,
Yeah, go on.
what I met one of you. Well, I'm friends with one of your other clients, and actually on my birthday, I was away with her. We were renting a house, and I'd got up early on my birthday, and then I heard her doing something weird in the other room, and I thought, God, what's going on? Because she was
Keep
making
it clean.
noise, and she was like I could hear other noises coming out. And then I said, what were you doing? And when she came out, and she said, oh, it's an online fitness class. And I had been thinking, for me, that would be really brilliant because my job is so varied. I work for lots and lots of different organisations and people. And so I thought, yeah, that's a really good thing. And she explains to me some of what you did, which is how I got in touch with you. But I'd been thinking about online fitness for a while beforehand.
Oh, so you've been... Okay. So What had you kind of got in your head about online versus what we do, if that makes sense? So what
Oh,
have been some
yeah,
of the differences?
yeah. So I had approached a couple of other people and found it really disheartening. And that was kind of my birthday's New Year's Eve, and it was before Christmas I approached. So I knew that I needed to do something, but I'd approached them, and what they did online was really just meet with me and then go, oh, you need to go down the gym and do this and this and this. So, that would have not given me a very good idea of what I was meant to be doing, and technique and stuff like that, because I didn't want to injure myself anymore. And also, I felt like, um, you know, that's not going to motivate me. I need to sort of get that more interactive thing. So live online classes, like I hadn't seen that anywhere else, and I hadn't, yeah, found that. So
I think, yeah, what you're hitting on there is a really interesting point because 9 times out of 10, the two things you need to get rid of are confusion and accountability.
mm,
And if someone's just doing like a once a week personal training session or once a week project management call, let's call it, which obviously I still do with you guys,
mm,
but we then see each other on recordings or lives or group coaching calls or programs I'm putting together. Like, how many times are me and you texting every week? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's it, A, because I actually give a shit and talk shit, hence the podcast. But I don't want to leave you guys on your own because I just feel like that's what's going to breed complacency when you get started. But equally, the group helps to then further that on, right?
definitely. So there's, in the app that we use, there's the sweaty selfie group and the all active clients. And so all those things, they do help because you feel motivated by the group, as you say, as well as yourself. And then there's obviously, like there's activities that are arranged where people come together from all over the UK, like for your Tough Mudder that you're doing and stuff like that. So there's a whole range of things that keep you more motivated. But as I said, for me, it's the live online classes that really make a massive difference, because otherwise I could just sit and talk to you and go, oh yeah, I'm doing all those exercises you set me, blah blah blah,
Yeah,
not be doing them. And I, like that thing about getting up in the morning, um you know I don't know if I would do that if I was just left to my own devices, really. But having said that, although it's, like for me, it's perfect because then I'm set up for the whole day and I feel invigorated and, ready for work. And obviously, I do lots of online work. So, I don't want to be sitting around all the time. So it's really good.
well, this is why I think a lot of people that maybe have tried or experienced or even had some success with online before, in the nicest way possible, ain't seen what we do
Mm,
because, you
yeah.
know, I would rather have, and this is, further down the line, but I want to get two
Mm,
extra coaches on and a yoga and Pilates session each week. And I'd like to
mm,
have experts coming in to talk to you guys. And obviously, I'm going to get some experts to come on and do some podcast stuff. But it's
mm,
because I just feel like you should have everything under one roof that you need to get where you want to be, maintain that, then the next stage, get onto that, building out
yeah.
modules. Because, all right, you look at David Lloyd, for example, and I used to work there, I was a gym manager down there. We used to charge about £200 a month.
Mm,
Now, the active members were like 22, 24% of people paying the wages who were then actively using the club. And using the club was twice a week, I think,
mm,
or once a week.
yeah.
That's dog shit. Compared to
Mm,
what like you're paying out,
mm-hmm,
no one's then making you go. And you can go and buy the most expensive Peloton, the most expensive gym membership, buy a fucking Echelon treadmill, get a whole set of weights, but they'll just collect dust.
mm,
I remember going down to the Peloton store in Stratford. I think it was Stratford anyway. But they were giving me all the spiel and saying, oh, yeah, look at this, blah, 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 you can join classes. And I went, now who's going to drag me onto it? Who's
mm,
going to put a magnet on my belly button and go
mm,
and lead me to it? Because unless that's going to happen, or unless I've got a pal that's telling me to do it, and I feel like a lot of people that work online, a lot of people who are older, in the nicest way possible, there is a time in your life where you go from getting invited to more weddings to getting invited to more funerals, right? So your
Mm.
social circle will naturally either go younger than you or decrease. And it's a very lonely thing to look at when you ain't got anyone around you to motivate you, really.
Yeah.
So I suppose my question to you would be, as someone who's done something like this and obviously got the results, which we'll talk about in a bit,
Hmm.
like, what would you say to someone, or how would you like to have been found? Like, where were you kind of searching, if that makes sense, on the other online stuff?
Yeah.
What would help you feel accountable?
Um, I suppose where I've been searching before, I realised was probably for me the wrong sort of place, because I think it was, I'd kind of spoken to a few people that were just, clearly looking to train younger people, and people that, from my point of view, look fine already and didn't really need it. I mean, I know everyone does for health, so you can't really say that, but um, you know, I think it was more about how things looked, for them online, rather than being engaged with the people that your group that you're working with. And I think, like, it's really good because it feels like all the other people that are in the, like, online classes and everything, like, they're really supportive, and you get an actual relationship with those people from all over the country. So that's really nice as well. It's like a benefit too, that
Yeah,
you know
you ain't got everyone
yeah.
that's in their 60s, have you? You've got people in their 30s,
Oh,
40s,
yeah,
50s,
yeah,
20s.
all sorts. Yeah,
But
all
yeah, but like you said, they're not all sexy bastards, for want of a better word. Like they're
yeah.
not, and that even that term like is
But
a fluid.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
you feel better now than you felt
yeah.
in January, right? But
I feel
equally,
better now than I have since, like, probably about, you know, well, definitely since 2018. So that's a long time. Yeah, I feel more healthy, more active, and I never thought I could get back here.
so talk to me a little bit about that, because I think obviously Ali spoke to you. Ali was the
Mhm.
client that obviously brought you in. She'd
Mhm.
if I remember rightly, I think we'd spoken on a personal training website she'd applied on. Um,
Mhm.
what were your expectations of what you could get to and what you could do in
Mhm.
January versus what is some of your expectations and reflections of yourself now?
Yeah. So, okay, when I started with you, I I hadn't done any exercise for ages and ages, and I even found it difficult, like, to walk up a hill, and was really, like, would be really out of breath, and sort of almost like get cross with other people, and, oh, you're just trying to, make me do something. How it is. I don't know, when you're really, really unfit, you get cross with people that are fitter than you, because really what you want to be
To
is fit
everyone.
like them. Yeah.
So,
That's it. So
what were
I
you, what were you telling yourself then? Like, because obviously
so I
you
was
were frigging
thinking,
59, right? You were like,
yeah,
that's a lot of stuff to mentally be going against.
yeah. And I was thinking, okay, I'm I knew I was far too big and heavy and unfit, but I was thinking I could only ever get back to a sort of, I thought maybe I could lose a couple of stone and maybe get down a clothes size. And actually, so far, what I've lost since January, mid-January, and it's now mid-May, I've lost 3.5 stone now, and I've dropped from a size 20 to actually now a size 14. But I can feel that some of the things that are 14, I had a pair of jeans. That was one of my things. I thought, could I ever get back in these nice jeans I had? Well, they're actually a bit too big for me now. And I
Sorry,
never
Rach.
thought,
I don't think the mic picked all that last 30 seconds up. Then, do you want to just repeat all that for me? Just to so what have you done in just over 4 or 5 months?
so I've lost 3.5 stones. You just taken a piss.
basically, I just wanted to like. The thing is, right? I say to you guys all the time, you know, I don't blow smoke up your ass, and
Mhm.
I will really try and be not pessimistic, but like
Mhm.
everyone likes to say they're honest and they're this, but
Mhm.
most trainers talk fucking bollocks, and
Mhm.
you know they're all about you can eat what you want as long as it's chicken salad and depression. Like,
Mhm.
you know, depression for breakfast, a couple of fried eggs, and then you've got another quinoa on toast for dinner. Like, I hate that culture. I just think it's a load of crap, and it's largely our responsibility as the coaches to do better to help people maintain. So I really
Mhm.
try and come at this from a place where I don't give you credit for something unless it's deserved, and I only try and then give you the appropriate response of
Mhm.
celebration or whatever. So,
Mhm.
but when I say to you, you're 60 now and you've done 3.5 stone in just over 5 months,
Mhm.
like there are going to be people that are on in their 40s on HRT going through hysterectomies, going through
Mhm.
IVF and being told you're too fat, mate, you can't
Mhm.
have kids, like
Mhm.
on birth control, on
Mhm.
antidepressants, and
Yeah.
having anxiety about what they're going to wear for their
Mhm.
big 40th. Like for you to have done that
Mhm.
best part of like 15, 20 years after their fucking excuses are kicking in, that's why I'm trying to say to you and to everyone else listening to this, A, what's your fucking excuse? But also how much you've applied yourself. Because tell me a little bit about what you've done in that time, other than obviously the 4 hours a day marches we've got you doing up hills and the burpees for 20 minutes for 20 minutes in the evening, eating nothing but 800 calories a day. Other than that stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
tell us what your actual routine looked like.
Okay, so I'm doing the live classes every morning from 7 till 7:30, and I started off doing 3 a week, and I have gone up, and that's not because I've gone, oh, I've got to do more classes. It's because I actually enjoy them, and it's made me feel better, and like I said, it invigorates me for the day. So I probably do, you know, 4 or 5 online a week. And then there's a weekend fitness test that we do. And that's good, because you can start measuring where you're at and everything. And with the food, I mean, I love cooking and I love making my own food. So I don't, even when I was really, really big, I wasn't eating loads of like processed foods or ultra processed foods, other than big bags. Could be known to doing a big bag of Doritos, which obviously is not very good for you. But I wasn't. I think my portions were ginormous, bigger than my partner's a builder. So, and he eats miles less. Well, he did eat miles less than me. And so, like, and he's doing work all day. So, you know what I mean? I think what I've done is I've actually got smaller portion sizes, but like lots of really nice stuff like roasted veg and stuff that you don't even need to make yourself feel like. I don't feel I'm deprived at all from this. And I said to you earlier today that I made this thing with like if you freeze little tiny bits of bananas and then you do them up with berries and a little tiny bit of apple juice, you can make it's like an ice cream. So, there's things you can do, I suppose, if you like cooking, that you can kind of just, make sure you're eating loads of fruit and veg, but that it's nice and it doesn't make you feel deprived. And sort
Did,
of,
did you think when you were first starting any of this stuff, because of
Mm.
obviously like your age and hurdles in front of you, did you think you'd have to be strict then in that case?
Oh God, yeah, I thought it would be much harder than it has been actually, like in terms of feeling like I thought I'd feel like, oh my God, am I ever going to be able to do this? Oh, am I ever going to lose another pound? Oh my God. But it's made me more lively generally. And so that just helps, doesn't it? You're doing more stuff all the time and kind of, going around and, like I've just been to London to see my son. And like both days I walked like I think it was like 20,000 steps almost. And before I'd have just been trying to avoid doing that. Whereas,
and having a go at all the fit people.
yeah, stop trying to make me walk. In fact, on my birthday, I think, or the day before my birthday, Ali tried to make me walk up a hill, and I was like, "No, I'm going home."
Oh,
So,
what a
do you know
knob!
what I mean?
I'll
Like,
send her a message. Don't worry. I'll have a word with her.
so,
I need to get her on for one of these.
yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah. So it's completely changed what I'm doing,
Mm.
but I don't feel like in any way like it's made me feel bad. It's made me feel good.
I think
So,
that's. What would you say? Uh, has there been anything that you didn't like about the program, or has there been anything that maybe I've sounded different on, if that makes sense, to what you initially thought a quote unquote personal trainer should sound
mm,
like?
mm. No, I think well, I guess you go, no, it's fine to eat stuff you enjoy. It's fine to do that. And, I think that's different to what most people do. Like they go, oh, you can only have celery juice for 5 days a week and a thin vegetable broth. No. So, no, I think that's it. You're very like, no, you should eat properly, but be aware of what you're eating. And I think that's a really different thing to what I expected. And I think
Good.
the nutrition stuff is really useful as well. So,
Yeah, it's trying to raise your awareness about it. I'm in shit shape compared to most personal trainers, but most personal trainers are boring, unsocial twats, and I'll say that happily. Like, you know, I spent such a long time in such a toxic industry where it's about who's got the biggest six pack, who can lift the next 48 kilo kettlebell.
yeah,
Never
yeah,
mind how fucking functional that is.
yeah.
It's just all about ego and gains, and and I won't
And
lie.
addiction,
Yeah,
actually, because I've been thinking loads about that, because loads of like in terms of women who I know who are really into that sort of thing, if they weren't really into like being like a twiglet who is like lifting like a car over their head, they would be addicted to something else.
and here's a
So,
question for you. This is what I always try and judge it by, right? Because I always try and say to you guys, I'm a fat personal trainer, but I'm in pretty good shape and I have a laugh. Would you look forward to going around any of that person's house for dinner?
no, definitely not. No, no, because I know it would be celery juice, and I really hate celery.
Fucking right. That honestly, what some a coach said that to me a while ago. I had two. Sorry, let me turn that off. I had two things that came up from, and I've had hundreds of world class coaches. I've been very fortunate to, train under some really decent people. And there was one that said, if you have any larger level of body fat than basically a testicle, you shouldn't be speaking about fat loss. I think that was a guy called Charles Poliquin. And again, if you think how much body fat is on a testy, that was his basically. You should be able to see the veins on someone's abs. And I remember thinking, no
No,
thanks. And then
no.
there was another guy that I stayed with, funnily enough, who said, if you wouldn't like to get the thought of going around their house for dinner, do you
Mm,
want to train with them?
mm,
Probably freaking not.
yeah.
I'm really proud of you, and I feel like you're really settling in well. I feel like you're really, and again, this is for anyone listening to this, Rachel's been here 5 months, and if you started in May, that'll take you through to what, June, July, August, September, October.
Mm,
Ain't a long time, and if you've been looking at coaching, if you've been looking at skirting around and going back to Slimming World or going to join a gym or whatever, like, all I'd say is, if you're trying to half-ass it and it
mm,
works, fantastic. But the amount of time and money you're going to waste by doing shit half-masted versus just diving in balls deep and making it work for yourself, maybe it's the
mm,
fucking right time to. Rach is in her 60s, just about. On the right side, that makes it sound like you're
mm.
even close to 70, didn't it? Sorry, Rach. Rach has just turned 60, but and had every excuse in the world, but she didn't let it.
And I have tried like all those other things in the past. Like I've done Weight Watchers and Slimming World and all those things. And they've just never worked for me. But I believe that's because
They were dog shit.
you can't
Oh,
just do that stuff without without you need to, you've got to put the work in, the exercise. And some of the things that I really like is like, I thought that a sit up to me before I joined you was like just bending my neck and getting a really bad neck ache. But now I can sit up from down right properly, and like things like that feel like real achievements. And it's good to do that. I want to be mobile, and I don't want to be ill while I'm getting
yeah.
older.
You know why I had to change that, don't you? Why I had to change how I teach sit-ups.
Mm.
I used to get all these other angry other halves and boyfriends asking me why they're collecting women's neck hurts after doing a couple of sessions with me. That's why I had to change how I was teaching it. So that's all it was.
Neck ups. Yeah.
That was a dirty joke. Never mind. Anyway,
Okay.
other than that, yes, I think one final thought I would always like to do with you guys is I'm not just going to say, would you recommend it? I'd say, like, if you were to speak to someone, what's one thing you would want them to know about why it's worked for you and why it could work for them?
I would say to people that it definitely could work. If it's worked for me, I believe it can work for anyone, because I think I was, like I said, I was very, very overweight, very unfit. I had a knee injury, which incidentally, this has helped. And like I spent ages saying, oh, I can't do that because of my knee, or I can't kneel on my knee, I can't do this, I can't do that. And actually, it's a load of old crap, because it's made my knee, the swelling go down, and it's making my knee better. So I think if I can do it, and like, yeah, really anyone can, and that's why I'd recommend it, because it will just change, change your life. Actually, that's what I feel about it, because I feel like I've moved so much from how I was at Christmas to now.
Damn straight. And we've only
Yeah.
just begun.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate that. I'm going to just say, I think, yeah, the knowledge, that I built up. I've been in this industry 14 years now, and being able to kind of expose myself to, it sounds a bit strange, being able to kind of work with you guys on a regular basis and expose myself occasionally has just helped refine the technique, because obviously, as long as I can see you guys, I can coach you. And
Yeah.
it's been a real fun journey having you as part of the group, and long may it continue. So yeah, I think we'll end it there for this one. Guys, if you've appreciated this one, if you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, like I said, I'm about 4 or 5 episodes into this now, so really appreciate all the support, and anything that you could share back would be awesome. Thank you.